And we're now live. So here we are, folks. We're having our first live stream on StokerVerse on Facebook. And we're going to tell you about all our exciting upcoming projects. So, Dacre, what are we going to talk about first?
Well, first of all, you got to set people straight. You said this is Facebook Live, and that would mean we're both live. And as you can all tell, my writing partner, Chris McAuley, is stove up somewhere in deep, dark Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. He lives a very nocturnal life. I think he's really the vampire in the group. Me, I think it's him. But anyway, Chris is in Edmonton, Alberta, in dark zone. I'm in South Carolina, plenty of sun, maybe too much at this time of the year for vampire lovers. But nonetheless, Chris, I'm ready to go. This is our first one. How exciting.
Yeah, it's great. It's as exciting as your shirt, Dacre. I just love that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's definitely something that we need to get on the product range. Those are all the covers of Dracula, aren't they, on your shirt? Isn't that right?
Yeah, these are old vintage Dracula covers, and I'm a junkie for the covers. So a friend of mine helped me put together Enrique Palafox. We've got some other cool products that are in the works. But let's tell folks about the things they can get nowadays, rather than just hope to get something cool like my shirt. So shall we start with the product that really brought Chris and I together is the graphic novel, The Virgin's Embrace, which is a story that Bram Stoker wrote in 1883. Back then, it was not graphic. It was just a text story called The Squaw. And then Chris and I updated it, modernized it, and with the political sensitivities these days, really got into it and changed the name to The Virgin's Embrace. What Chris did, which was so cool, was he tapped into some of his friends in the artistic world. One of them was Jessica Martin, who is a stage actress as well as a Doctor Who actress. So he immediately got in some cool clout, and she got to work on the artistry of this, which is fantastic. And then Chris found an amazing artist in Italy, Esther Cardella, who actually did the cover for it. And you can see some of Jessica's work, just her random work on the inside covers as well. This is published by AUK in England, and it's out, in all places like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Book Depository, places where you can get most books. I've also included a foreword. Chris has included an afterword, and I also wrote a short biography of Bram in Florence as well. And then Jessica gave kind of behind-the-scenes look at all of her work that was leading up to the final product. And I've never been involved in a graphic novel, so it's really cool to see how her and Chris actually went through all the pages of the script that we created and how she interpreted that and finally got it into production. And that's called The Artist's Alley. And then there's a mini story by Robert Marzallo, who is an accomplished graphic artist, and did a cool little mini story all surrounding this image of the Virgin's Embrace. So that's our first product with Andrews Publishing. And as you'll stick with us throughout the show, this is our first giveaway. Because at the end of the show, we'll announce the random person who actually answered on our Facebook page that they were in fact stoked for the Virgin's Embrace. And our assistant, Kate Newman, has figured out how to randomly choose this person. So Chris and I will be announcing the winner of this at the end of the show. Chris, just give us a little bit about your take on creating the Virgin's Embrace.
Yeah, it happened as most writing projects with me in the small hours of the morning. So, Dacre, I remember the first phone conversation we had, that I had written a comic book called Dracula, Lord of the Future, and we started discussing the exciting prospects of bringing Bram's work to life through graphic novel format. Virgin's Embrace just seemed a natural first product. It's a wonderful story. I think, in the comic book community, it was known in one variation through EC Comics line in the 40s and 50s, and a lot of my comic book mentors, they had actually very fond memories of it. So there was a bit of a challenge on how to make this very distinct and still carry Bram's signature genius with it. And what you and I did, Dacre, we started looking at the characters' backstories. We started injecting a little bit more with the characters. So the protagonists are markedly different in some ways than if you just pick up the book and read it. We injected Bram and Florence because we believe that was possibly the case, that Bram and Florence were in Nuremberg as part of their honeymoon celebrations. We've got the character of Elias, who is obviously in the original story, but we inject a little bit more dimensionality with that character. So it was an interesting challenge, and whenever I'd written the script, I knew that there was only one person that I wanted to illustrate it, and that was Jessica Martin. And Jessica has this fantastic way of illustrating faces. The faces really come alive with Jessica's work, and whenever we're looking at a character-driven horror piece, then we need to have that intensity with the face, because it's the face and the expression, the emotion that really carry the story forward. So it was a fun challenge that was challenging, because it was important to be faithful to what had gone before, but to inject something new. And I think we've successfully done that with Virgin's Embrace. It is a critically acclaimed hit. We were very lucky to have DC editor Shelley Bond express how much she loved it, and we even got luminaries like Pat Mills saying it was a fantastic piece of work. So I was very happy with it, and I think AUK did an amazing job with putting it all together. Dacre's holding the hardback edition with Esther Cardella's beautifully rendered cover. It's.
Let me say one more.
Really
let me say one more thing about it.
Sure.
Had we known at the time when we actually had it produced, I found this very cool essay written by Sir Christopher Lee, and he was being asked, had he read Dracula? Obviously he had. Had he read any other of Bram's stories? He said, I read the Lair of the White Worm and the Squaw, the Virgin's Embrace. And had we known this at the time, we probably would have been able to put this in the front cover. He said, the Squaw is, moreover, one of the most terrifying stories that Bram Stoker ever wrote. So besides the contemporary people that have given this accolades and some pretty darn good reviews on Amazon, Christopher Lee thought this was pretty cool himself.
Yeah.
But let's move on, because we've got a lot of products, Chris, to tell folks about. Yeah. How about I tell folks about Voices of Dracula?
Please do.
Which I've never been involved in making audio stories, although some of the books that I've written have been turned into audio books. But again, this was the brainchild of Chris. He comes to me. And we do this about twice a day. We say, let's dig into Dracula and figure out some of the backstories, some of the stories that weren't able to be included in the story. So I go into the notes, I go into all my research. We pull out names, words, certain things that we realize that were in Bram's consciousness, in his mind when he was writing the story, but couldn't develop them. Back in the day, paper was very expensive, so books had to be edited down. But also you could see he had so many ideas for the story. But this is where Chris and I fill the gaps, is we use those ideas that he had, and then we obviously inject our own ideas. We're authors, we take ideas and go off in many different directions. The key is he actually knew that he had people like Jessica who were also very famous actors, Doctor Who actors, other actors, that he could read these stories. And that was part of the appeal. So this may be a little bit dry, but let me just tell you who he was able to line up. We won't spoil the stories per se, but again, AUK published this, and Barnaby Jones was the director. Stories that Chris and I collaborated on together. But as I say this, Chris, why don't you tell people who, if they may not know, Simon Templeton, Legend of Khan, Dracula Age, Dead Space 3, Charmed, and so many more, plays Dracula in two of the stories. So tell us a bit about Simon Templeton before I give him the names of the stories that he actually wrote.
Simon's a Hollywood actor, very well known for a lot of recent pop culture TV shows like Buffy, Angel. He's been on Star Trek. I think he wants to be in Doctor Who, but hasn't been there yet. So if any Doctor Who producers are watching, he would make an excellent next Doctor, by the way, as Jodie's leaving. But he's a wonderful guy. He started his career in the Royal Shakespeare Company alongside Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. and he loves ensemble pieces. I sent the script to him. I didn't have any idea that he was going to read it and really get excited by it, but he told me the story that he was sitting at his kitchen table reading it out loud, and his wife and son were listening, and I think the son said, you've got to do this, and you've got to do this now. So he rings me, he's going for a bagel run, and he rings me in his car, and he said, Chris, I really want to do this, can I be your Dracula? And I said, absolutely. And Simon's got for him, if you're a video game fan, the Legacy of Kain series, which is legendary. He was the vampire Kain, the titular character throughout that series. And has received critical acclaim in so many other avenues. His wife's Rosamund Chow, who was Chief O'Brien's wife in Star Trek Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and she's also appeared in the live-action Mulan by Disney. Very, very talented actress. If you folks want to know more about Simon's work, go onto our YouTube channel, Stoker and McAuley YouTube channel, and we've got a recorded interview where Simon goes into depth about why he wanted to do this role, what Dracula means to him, and how he met his wife, which is an interesting story in itself. So just before we go on, I want to give a shout out to Shane and Jenna who are watching. Jenna's just said that her cousin was in Doctor Who, so that's exciting. We've got another Doctor Who connection live.
What a small world. Yeah, well, let's move on. We got a lot of products. So you also got a hold of this young lady who's a friend of you, this actress Claudia Christian, who is playing this really cool, mysterious, charismatic female thief. Again, we're not going to spoil the story for you, but this is an interjection into the story. People think, where the heck do we come up with that? Again, you got to look in Bram's notes to figure out the type of things he was thinking about. But Claudia Christian from Babylon 5, 911, Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire, become a very good friend of Chris's. So, Chris, give us a short version of how you got her on board.
It was pretty easy, to be honest. I sent her an email and said, hey, do you want to do Dracula? And she came back and she said, tell me more. So I had a phone chat with her, outlined the character, actually worked with her to create the character, because I like doing that with actors. And she went, read the script. She actually went on a mountain hike and went up a mountain and recited the lines in various accents until she got the right one. She came down from the mountain, rang me, rather breathless, so I like to think in my head she literally just ran down the mountain. And Claudia is an extremely active, fit person, so yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if she did. And she recited the lines in this accent, in this Victorian accent, and I would not have been able to place it was her. If you watch her, a lot of her animations that she does, she voices, you wouldn't be able to guess it was Claudia. She's just got such a talent for voice acting. Wow. Well, I mean, coming down from the mountain with the tablet, so to speak. Let's not go there right now. But anyway, the next guy, Colin Baker, the TV's sixth Doctor, Doctor Who, Kingdom, Hustle, so on, masterfully narrates Van Helsing. Yeah. Now, how did you land Colin Baker for this, Chris? This is a real Doctor Who coup. Yeah, that was a discussion I had with Jessica. It was like, I really want Colin Baker on board. What do you think? Jessica read through all the scripts. So it was happening, I was typing this out at 1 o'clock in the morning. At my time, Jessica was getting the scripts an hour later. She was actually getting the scripts first because I wanted her to see and read through and say, I really would like this person. What do you think? And she said, Colin would love that. Go and ask his agent. So Jessica helped me find who his agent was. So it was Thomas at Boynton Management. So thank you very much, Thomas. And Colin read the script, absolutely loved it, and started to converse with me about the character. And we're very lucky to get him to record a video for us, which is on our Facebook channel. And Colin talks about he's met Dacre in the past, and one of his dream roles was Van Helsing, and he had actually written a Dracula musical. So if you go onto our Facebook page and have a look for his video, he will explain more about what attracted him to the project. Okay, and then one of my favorite characters. I mean, they all are. But I love the Renfield character, and I love the different actors that have played them. And wondering how the heck did you get Terry Malloy
who played in Doctor Who, the Davos character. How did you get Terry to be Renfield? What was the sort of redeeming qualities about him and his voice?
Well, Terry's my favourite Davros. When I grew up in the 90s, sort of late 90s, and we didn't have Doctor Who on TV at that time. We had a lot of reruns on BBC, and it was always Terry's Davros I saw. But Terry's got a very magnetic charisma, and he's a perfect megalomaniac. Not as a person. Terry's a lovely person. Terry, if you're watching this, but he has this fantastic quality of being able to have his voice very low and then start to rise up and have this rant of an appeal, which is exactly what Davros has. And he's perfect for Renfield, because as we know, Renfield's not absolutely crazy. He has gone through events which have shaped his mind. He's actually a very literate, intelligent human being, and Terry's perfect to convey that intelligence, but it's wrapped around this form of mania, madness. So he was perfect for it. It was thanks to Barnaby Eaton-Jones, who knows Terry quite well, passed Terry the scripts. Terry said, I'll do it. Again, folks, you want to hear more about Terry, but his work on Doctor Who and his work with us, go to our YouTube channel. We've got a very extensive interview where he talks about eating flies and bugs and how that appealed to him.
Well, then we got to round out with our friend that brought this all together from the Virgin's Embrace, the artist, the talented Jessica Martin. She gets to play Mina Harker. So obviously that was a no-brainer for us, and she did a wonderful job. What else can we say about our good friend Jessica?
Yeah, first woman to reduce me to tears on a YouTube channel, which has been talked about. Very, very kind lady, reducing me to tears in a good way. But yeah, she's somebody who very much a key part of the StokerVerse. Somebody who I personally love very much. She's like she likens to me as her adopted son now. I knew Jessica when I was growing up. Obviously, it was through Doctor Who. She was the first person to scare me on TV. She transforms into a werewolf in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, written by another friend of ours, Dacre, Stephen Wyatt. He had actually written the story. Yeah. So we're working with Stephen at the minute in another series of audios, which we can't talk about now, but maybe in a later edition of this. So that was the first person to actually scare me on television. Jessica and I did a little interview. I used to work for Starburst magazine, so we did a little interview for them, and I got to know Jessica's work, her graphic novel work. Jessica's somebody who's just, again, I keep talking about this expressive nature she has, that bleeds through to her voice acting. She's just an incredible voice actress, and I could see her as Mina, and the Mina that you see in Voices of Dracula it's an authentic portrayal of Mina from the novel. So she's a very strong character, and that resonates in everything that Jessica does. Jessica's not afraid to take chances artistically, and that's why she's just a perfect complement to what Dacre and I are doing in the StokerVerse. So yeah.
So let's tell people where they can get voices. Obviously, once again, many thanks to Paul Andrews, AUK Publishing, and Barnaby Eaton-Jones, our director. But how can people get a hold of these things? This is obviously audio stories, Audible. What other platforms?
Audible, BookBeats.
Do you know?
If you go to our new Facebook shop, which we'll be talking about a little later, there's a link there. So it's an easy link just to click in and to buy. One of the lovely compliments that's actually been paid to Voices of Dracula is that it's the most significant update to the Dracula myth since the 92 film. So that should grab your attention, folks. Go purchase it. Let us know what you think.
And now that rolls us right into the expanding empire of the StokerVerse. We started with Andrews AUK as our UK-based publisher, and now we're expanding with James Longmore to Hellbound Books in North America. We're very excited to be able to announce that today. They will be able to produce a full range from audio stories to graphic novels to obviously novels, novellas, anthologies. We've got plenty to do, but it wasn't just the name Hellbound Books that appealed to us. James Longmore is a great guy to work with, and we think a real cool vibe that he brings to to StokerVerse and vice versa. We think we're going to grow together in great directions. And, that leads me to back to Chris, because we still have another book coming out with AUK shortly, and then we've got more things in the works with Hellbound. So,
yeah.
Chris, why don't you talk about the new project that we've got coming out with AUK very shortly? So,
yeah, it's an exciting novel called Dracula's Bedlam. So fans of the StokerVerse might have seen this teased already with Nicholas Quay's sort of cover art that's quite attention arresting, because you've got Dracula holding the heart. But yeah, it's written by yourself, Dacre, myself, and the illustrious and incomparable John Peel. So John Peel will be known to fans of science fiction from his acclaimed novels in Doctor Who. There's a lot of resonance with Doctor Who fans here, because I see that Amanda has just popped up and she said that she loves Doctor Who. So we're giving you lots of Doctor Who content in this little update as well. But yeah, so he was actually the best friend of the guy who created the Daleks, Terry Nation. And Terry Nation gave John his blessing to write the Dalek novels in the Target range, as well as he worked on the BBC ranges and the Virgin New Adventure ranges. So fans will know him from his novelisations of The Chase, Dalek's Master Plan, Power of the Daleks, War of the Daleks. He also wrote a fourth Doctor story called Evolution, which is set in the Victorian era. So that was one of the reasons that I knew he was perfect for Bedlam. And he also wrote one of my all-time favourite Doctor Who novels, Time Worm Genesis. But John's ranges don't just stop at Doctor Who. He's worked on Star Trek books, so he's worked on Here There Be Dragons, which is a next-gen novel, and he's also worked on Objective Bajor. And if you want to know more about John's work, go onto our YouTube channel. We've got another extensive interview with John. And you can also find out about his relationship to James Bond Jr., the cartoon TV show, in there as well. So, in Bedlam, what we're doing is we're exploring Dr. Seward's asylum. So we're taking a look at the events that are intertwined with Bram Stoker's original masterpiece. And we're introducing some new characters in there as well. One character that John has specifically created, which I think is just such a compliment to Bram's work. And you'll be seeing lots of her throughout the various StokerVerse tales. So, Dracula's Bedlam is the first in a series of novels that are going to take the reader from the pages of the original Gothic horror story of Dracula and beyond that. So, we do have, not to give any spoilers away as well, it's what we term as a mixed media product. There's some graphic novel elements in there as well, and that's been illustrated by Frederick Roseman. So you get to see the origin story of a vampire, and you actually get to see Renfield's backstory in there as well in graphic novel format. So I think it will be a really interesting product for people to hold in their hands and read it.
Yeah. So the next one, moving right along, is something very near and dear to my heart. That again, Chris is sort of the ringmaster between the script that we've created, and it is the Charlotte Stoker Cholera story. It's the actual story that Charlotte, Bram's mom, when she was 14 years old, lived through, and actually told the story to Bram when he was a young boy. He took that story that he then asked his mom later on in his life, when he was old enough to write stories, to send it to him. So there's actually a typed version of this story sitting in the Trinity College archives, which gives us proof that it actually went from Charlotte to paper to Bram, and he used it to write a short story called The Invisible Giant. And I am totally convinced that the theme of the story that will come out in this book of misdiagnosis, the horror of premature burial, all this not lack of understanding of contagious diseases and sort of thing, that it resonated in young Bram Stoker's mind and gave him a really dark sense of imagination that comes out many years later when he starts doing his research for Dracula. But Chris, let's talk about the artist that you're mentoring to bring the Cholera story, and it's going to be a book by Hellbound. So that's going to be the first one with them. So let's talk a little bit about how you help Nicholas figure out how to portray these incredible images that Charlotte wrote about.
Yeah, so it'll be our first graphic novel with Hellbound, and You know, this is something that when I wrote the script, it's a very emotional story. So I needed an artist that could convey that level of emotion, and convey a story in a way that was very dynamic. That as you flipped through the pages, you felt that you were actually going back in time, and it really pulls the reader into the traumatic experiences that the Stoker family would have witnessed. Nicholas has a very bold style, and has a style which is he's a natural storyteller. He's actually illustrated another one of our stories coming out by Hellbound called Wolves of the West, which is a World War II werewolf horror story. And in that I could see how he could portray a script really effectively. Now, when I wrote the script, there were elements as I was typing that I actually felt very emotionally bound to, and actually wept as I wrote the script. It's a very harrowing story, captivating story, but very harrowing. And from the pages that you and I have seen, Dacre, Nicholas is really effectively capturing that. You know, and it is going to be as accurate as we can possibly make it to that time period. But it's also something that I think modern readers will really feel a resonance with, especially with our recent pandemic. The last time that Sligo was actually closed down was before our COVID-19 epidemic, was actually during the cholera story, and there are a lot of parallels and similarities there. So yeah, I think
it's amazing to think that it is such a good story, but it really happened. But when you look deeper, the Irish are natural storytellers, and thank goodness that Charlotte Stoker lived through it. Otherwise, Bram wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't be here. But she lived through it and was able to tell a hell of a good story, pass it on to her son. So we're going to be bringing that to you hopefully sometime in October, November. And I think the people in Sligo, my friends at the Stoker Sligo Society, Dr. Marion McGarry, Fiona Gallagher, and others will love to have a hometown story to promote, as opposed to just people talking about it. And then I think it's going to spread like a pandemic worldwide, because it's an incredible story. Moving along, the anthology that you're working on with Joe Pasquale.
Yep.
Tell our friends a bit about Joe, and that's another production coming out with Hellbound soon.
Yeah, so we've got an anthology. It's called Tales from the StokerVerse Night Scares. So Joe Dacre and myself are writing an anthology novel. It's a horror anthology. A lot of people in the UK know Joe is a very famous British comedian, but he's also a twice best-selling horror author as well. So I think that's going to be a fun series of tales, a fun series of unexpected tales from the mind of Stoker, McAuley, and Pasquale. So that'll be fun.
So, Chris, we're sort of running out of time, and we need to tell people about who wins the book. Do you want to sort of quickly tease people a little bit about one other element?
Yep.
And don't go into much detail, but just tell them about, very briefly, who we're working with on games, and maybe we'll do another Facebook Live sometime and give them some more detail. Just give them those teasers.
Yeah, so we've done we've signed contracts with Nightfall Games and Trinity Knot Studios. Nightfall Games are best known for their recent work on the Terminator franchise. So they're crafting an RPG universe with StokerVerse. First game's scheduled in October. It's going to be entitled Dracula's Revenge, and it's going to feature well-known characters from the Dracula universe. So players are going to step into the shoes of an occult investigator wandering the streets of London to uncover the truth behind a mysterious plague outbreak, and then they're creating another RPG to celebrate the 125th anniversary of Dracula's publication next year, and it's going to be set in the Steampunk Universe. Trinity Knot are doing 2 games for us. One's an exciting dice-based game where players will take the role of a mad scientist who has to craft their own monster. So once you create your monster, then you let it loose through the townsfolk, and they go and capture the unsuspecting poor souls there. So it's frantic fun for all the family. And the second game that they're going to be producing is a board game with some RPG elements. At the minute it's entitled Ventori, and it'll see various factions battling to control London and other European cities. So Trinity Not crafted some superb factions in there and a really immersive atmosphere to pull gamers into the StokerVerse.
Wow. That's a lot, and obviously we've got more details, but I think what we should do is wrap this up for now. Thank you to those people that joined us. Obviously, this is going to go onto YouTube, so if you didn't catch it live, you can see it recorded. Please go to our shop on the Stoker McAuley Productions page, and you can look at some of the cool products. But before that, let's announce, Chris, who gets the our first giveaway, which is a copy of the Virgin's Embrace. So this is a Twitter fan that our helper extraordinaire, Kate Newman, has pulled somehow randomly, and we need this person to send us their proper mailing address and phone address so I can stick this in FedEx and send it to them. So their name on Twitter is Dragon Nightwolf. So Dragon Nightwolf, you won the Virgin's Embrace. Send us an email or on Twitter or on Facebook page. Let us have by message your mailing address. Will get this to you, signed, and send it off to you. Chris, anything else we can say to close this, our first Facebook Live, close it off today?
Just hello to Bella. He said hello to me, so I'll say hello back. Hello, Bella. Nice to see you. Thanks for watching our live stream. And I want to plug one more thing, because he's sitting right beside me. On our Facebook shop, you can also get a Bram Stoker bobblehead, an official Bram Stoker estate Bram Stoker bobblehead. Look at him! Look at him! Look at the detail on that.
The head actually bubbles.
It does. It wobbles and moves. So I just want to give a little shout out to this product, because it's really cool, and you can get it on the shop.
Officially licensed by the Bram Stoker estate. This is the real deal. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you all. Stay tuned to our page. Come back often. And stay tuned, because we'll have another Facebook Live update. In the meantime, lots of things happening in our world. Stay attention to Hellbound Books, AUK Books, and any other venue that we mentioned to keep you guys informed what we're going on.
Catch you all later.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye, folks.